Hello, lovely witches. This is Dawn from Aurora Dawn, and today is August 25th. Wow, it's getting cooler here in Iowa. Hence I got long sleeves on today because it's cool down here in the basement. But anyway, it's beautiful. I hope it's beautiful where you are. So today, I would like to talk about the secrets of a self-mastered witch. I've got my notes, keep me on track. And to start out with, what's self-mastered? What's a self-mastered witch? When I was very hard on my luck and was having a difficult time, in case you haven't heard the story, this is very brief because some of you have heard it before. But anyway, just bottom line, I was in a very bad place, money-wise. I was behind in rent and no job, and so I was in a bad place. And I knew I was in some way, I was creating this, and I was blocking myself from being able to get out of it. So what I did was I was able to finally get a job, and I immediately started searching for spiritual life coaching because I wanted to learn how to save myself, I guess, rescue myself. And what I found was holistic learning centers, and that's plural, centers, plural. And I went through their program, and the founder had me go through the program like I was just a client of theirs, of one of their coaches. So I went through the program, and it absolutely blew my mind. Now, I've been working on myself using self-improvement type of techniques and positive affirmations and all sorts of different subliminal messages, self-hypnosis. Yeah, you know what I mean. Just a lot of stuff. And I felt a little better, but I was still struggling. It was still very hard for me to overcome my self-limiting beliefs. When I went through this self-mastery program that they have for training their life coaches, it blew my mind in the amount of healing that I went through right away. I mean, it was, I think I went 20 weeks, and everybody's different. Everybody goes at a different length. It's just whatever you need. And he said that was short. So, but anyway, most people go a little bit longer, but the main point is it was just so healing and so amazing that, you know, I had to become a life coach. I had to do this for other people, to take people who are struggling and can't make ends meet with their money, and they're unhappy, they have bad relationships, and they keep saying, why is this happening to me again, right? So I had to do this. I'm one of those people, if I find something that makes a big difference, I have to learn how to do it so I can teach other people. So that's my thing. A lot of witches I've come across want to believe that everything is basically unicorns and moonbeams. And that's great if you want to keep a positive attitude, and that's a big part of living a life of joy, but you can't ignore the toxic stuff in your life. You have to know how to deal with it. So other witches, what they do with the toxic stuff is they end up using curses to curse other people, to bind situations, to cast protection spells and all of that. And right at this moment, I'm not going to say all of that is bad and you should never do it. I'm not one of those. There are situations where you do need to protect yourself and take care of your family. So I'm not going to say none of that is ever valid and should ever be used. I'm not going to, that's not my stand. That's not my opinion. But what I have found, many witches will not, they just don't know what to do. So they turn to this because what else are you going to do? So the thing to look at that is very, very important is, how am I an energetic match to what is happening that is causing me suffering, that is causing me pain? So when I look at my situation, I have to know myself to know what is being triggered. I have toxic beliefs that get triggered, and if I'm not conscious, then I will unconsciously respond according to those toxic beliefs. So my formula that I teach my students is to first, number one, is to process your emotions. And so basically that's writing down what you're feeling. And in the class, I teach you emotions coming from, now we feel emotions, we experience emotions. And when we are feeling depressed, we're actually experiencing an emotion that is causing us to feel depressed. Kind of murkies things up. Unless you take the class will clear it up. But in the meantime, I think just writing down depression will work just as fine. So writing down what you're feeling: loneliness, hurt, anxious, depressed, those things, anything, whatever you are feeling, guilty, shame, ashamed, or shameful, whatever you're feeling, uptight, just write it down. And then how intense is it? So is a 10 would be maxed out. So I'm angry right now and it's about an 8. It's very intense. So then I would write all of my emotions down that I'm experiencing, rate the intensity, and then breathe. Do this breathing: forced inhale and forced exhale. Just relax. You'll feel a little lightheadedness, and that's important because spirit feels light. When you're in the present moment, you feel light, and that's where you can experience feeling joy and feeling nurtured and feeling comfortable and feeling safe. So doing this breathing helps you to process the energy of anger, the energy of hurt, the energy of shame, and helps you to flush it out and get back to feeling good, feeling in spirit in the present moment. Okay. 2, nurture your emotional needs. So you aren't looking to others to behave a certain way or situations to turn out a certain way so you can be happy. In other words, you are making yourself happy. And the way to do that is through self-talk. So building your self-talk. You're doing a great job. I'm so glad you're here. You're learning so much. You're gaining so much ground. And I'm so proud of you. This is something that we are looking for in other people, but you are the only one who can nurture your emotional needs. Nobody else can make you happy. Nobody else can make you angry. You choose to be happy. You choose to be angry. And I'm not one of those who's going to say, you're angry. Why are you making yourself angry? That's not cool. Don't do that. A lot of people do not understand how they create their reality. Therefore, when they are under duress, when they are experiencing emotions that are very uncomfortable and harmful even, they do not need to hear, why are you doing this to yourself? What they need to hear is that you're there for them and you will support them and ask if there's any way you can help. You don't tell somebody who has cancer, why are you giving yourself cancer? What are you doing that for? Because it's not cool. People don't understand that. And those of us who do, who are struggling, it's really hard. You have to be there for yourself, really, because people don't understand. A lot of people don't even know how to nurture another person and how to support them. That's why you are responsible. I feel like I'm slipping down a rat hole. Bottom line is nurture your own emotional needs. And when you do that, you'll build your self-confidence and your self-worth. And that'll go a long, long way in healing. and helping you feel good about yourself. And then when you change how you feel about yourself, then people change how they treat you. It has happened to my students over and over and over again. So many of my students come in and there are, so many toxic people in their life, and family members that are beating up on them verbally and emotionally, people who are just not being nice to them. And we go through these processes and learn these tools that I teach in my class, in my courses. And they are amazed. They come back and say, oh my God, Dawn, I cannot believe all the negative people just disappeared out of my life. This is just freaking me out. And now I'm seeing good people who, no, I don't want to say good people, but people who are supportive and positive and kind and so on are showing up. And that's because I feel they are becoming more of an energetic match to those people who are going to be supportive. And the negativity they felt towards themselves was healing and melting and going away. And they were no longer an energetic match to those negative, toxic people. And so they just went away. So another thing I'll see is people who were mistreating my student will change the way they treat them. For instance, I had a student who was going through a really nasty divorce. Husband already had a new girlfriend, was just nasty to her, wanted to rake her over the coals and make this divorce as nasty as possible. And we started working together, and then about, I don't know, a few weeks in, about a month or so, she said that she had to talk to him to discuss details on their divorce. And she said she was absolutely blown away how nice and respectful he was treating her. And we had gone through some of the exercises where she was healing and she was nurturing her own emotional needs. And it was just amazing, really, truly amazing. Okay, move on. Is that 2? 3, unplug your overconnection with people who are causing harm. So if somebody is, whenever they're around you and you feel just, that feeling, you just want to squeeze their head until it pops, right? It's that uncomfortable, I just want to slap him, I just want to, be harmful to him, I want to attack him. That is a sign that you're overconnected to that person or with that person. And what you could do is do an exercise where you unplug from that person and plug into your higher self, and then you merge yourself into your higher self so that you're no longer being controlled by that other person. Basically, you're giving your power away, you're giving your energy away by plugging into them and making them important, making anything about them important. So you unplug it, and all of that energy and control over you cut it off. You unplug it, say, I don't need to be plugged into you. And some may use, cord cutting, which is good, it's cool. And that will disconnect you from multiple different people. I personally like unplugging because I am personally saying, this is my energy, I'm taking this away, and putting it back into myself. That's, to me, that works better than cutting cords. And I've done the cord cutting. But anyway, so let's move on. Number 4, let go of other people's karma so you can take your power back. This is another one where you're giving your power away to somebody, and you want to take that power back because it belongs to you. You don't need to be taking on other people's karma. And how that's done is through forgiveness. If you don't forgive somebody, you are taking on their karma and taking it on your shoulders, and you're trying to punish them or do harm to them or hold on to a grudge because of their karma. So forgiveness is a way of letting go of their karma. Okay, number 5, surface and replace your toxic beliefs that are being used to create your reality. These are beliefs that are no longer serving you. They were created, and basically in this is the last 4 classes of the course. We work on this because it's heavy duty stuff, and you work with me one-on-one because I need to get in there, and I can't do it in a live class because there's too many people and it takes too much time. So I work with you one-on-one to make sure we get to the core toxic beliefs. And these core toxic beliefs were put in place when you were an infant, 0 to 6. That's approximate. It could be 7 for some people. But this is when you are trying to understand the world, where you're taking in anything and everything without question. And a lot of times, being a 3-year-old, you misunderstand things. 2-year-old, you don't quite understand what's going on, right? So you're misunderstanding. And it's not until about 6 or 7 years old that you start to reason for yourself. You've got enough information now that you can start making decisions on your own. What is right, what is good, what'll bring me joy, what'll cause harm, spanking or punishment of some sort. You start working that out at about 6 or 7 years old. But at that time, those foundational core beliefs about ourselves have already been laid. And most likely, pretty much, you don't actually recognize what is in your subconscious until at least about puberty. And then you can start looking at, hey, this is a self-limiting belief. But most of the time at puberty, we're thinking about sex, right? We got to go to school, we got to complete our classes and whatnot, but we're really thinking about, hey, that cute boy or that cute girl over there. And so we're not paying too much attention to behavior and how to make changes, and a lot of people are not taught. So we grow up with these self-limiting beliefs, and we continue to be plagued by them, right? Okay, I want to get back to cursing another person or binding them or situations and putting up protection and stuff like that. I'm not one for harming other people. I believe being respectful and respectable and kind and using compassion and coming from a place of love is definitely the best course of action for making changes and healing. But there are times when somebody will not back off, and I have to use, harmful magic. But I only do that if everything else doesn't work. So I would personally try and contact that person and communicate with them and say, hey, what's going on? Because a lot of times it's misunderstood information that they think about me but isn't true. And so if we could clear the air, or maybe something I said offended them or something like that, I'm more than happy to apologize. Whether or not I feel I'm at fault, somebody is hurting because I said something, and their perception is that I offended them. And so I apologize. Whether I think I'm at fault or not, doesn't matter to me in many situations, as long as they understand that I had no intention of hurting them or being offensive. So these are my opinions. If I share an opinion and somebody else is offended, it's still my opinion, but I want you to know that I want you to feel safe around me and know that my intention is not to hurt anyone. Now, if somebody keeps coming at me, I will, smack them upside the head, basically, or use a spell or something. But once it's straightened out, I want to go back to being compassionate. I don't want to stay in a place of, I'm going to harm anyone who even dares to offend me. I'm not going to do that. I just don't feel that's good. We have examples: Gandhi, right? Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr. None of them went around saying everybody who's white is ignorant, the government is ignorant, and saying hateful things, not to my knowledge anyway. And they were always respectful. And that is, I feel, is why people listened to them and why governments changed. That's why the UK pulled out of India, because Gandhi was respectful. He wasn't hateful, did not incite violence. No, Nelson Mandela didn't incite violence. Martin Luther King Jr. did not incite violence. And so I believe that is why they were listened to. I've been called a self-righteous New Ager, and that's okay. You can call me that. I still believe it's important for all of us to take the higher road. Okay, self-mastered witch is not perfect. I still struggle with issues. I've been teaching this course since 2007. That's when I received my certification, and I started teaching others 2007. And even though I have all the tools and I know everything about self-mastery, doesn't mean I am perfect. I'm not a master of self-mastery. And you don't have to be to see the changes, but at least I have the tools. When I get stuck, I can bring out these tools. Okay, what do I need to do? Let's work on all of this. It's amazing that I'm able to turn things around so quickly. So really, all you need to be is 51% self-mastered, and you'll start to see amazing changes. And the more you put into your shadow work or self-mastery work, they're both basically the same, you will heal yourself faster. And nurturing your own emotional needs, that is the one thing. If you don't do anything else, do that, because that will speed up your healing better than anything that I've experienced. So just so you know, I think that's all I have to say today. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your comments. Do something today that brings you joy. And until next time, blessed be.